because there was a lot of good stuff today, and we can't throw all that good stuff away. But ultimately, we should be beating teams like Luton Town with total respect to them. If we have an aspiration of being at the top end of this table, we need to get results today, and we didn't manage to do that.
So prior to this weekend's match, Rovers were looking at 3 wins on the spin, but Luton Town had other ideas, and we're going to talk about it next. That's right, folks, back once again with another match review. This time we are picking apart Rovers' latest shambles. That is right, the match against Luton Town. And we'll get to that in just 1 second. If you're new to the channel, smash your subscribe button to keep you bang up to date with all things Blackburn Rovers related, Championship related, world football, we're all here under one roof, boys and girls. So, yep, shit box. That's what it was. An absolute big box of shit as we crashed to a bit of a surprise defeat, if we're all honest. I think we all expected a win here. But Luton Town, credit to them. You've got to give them a round of applause. They do this every now and again. They do this on opening day, but and it looked a little bit ropey for them for the start of the season. But a big 3 away points for those bad boys. So let's take a look at the match now in a bit more detail now, shall we? 15,319 folks were in attendance to watch this shambles, and I think the majority of them were Rovers fans. I'm not too sure how many Luton away fans there were. But anyway, 2-1 final score. Collins, the goal-scoring machine, the dynamo, has been ripping it up throughout the lower leagues, and he's starting to score goals on a consistent basis right here in the Championship. So they've got themselves part 1 of a successful season. That's a goal scorer. And they've got some workhorses in the middle of the field as well. Butterfield, obviously, we had him on trial. Tunnicliffe, we know him well as an ex-Rover. Pearson, I believe, was on our books as a youngster as well. So they've got all the ingredients, and I think they'll just hang on in this season, because they looked good. They looked good and comfortable for the majority of this game. But anyway, Collins up at the scoring. Lewis Travis, oh my goodness, deserves to be celebrating after this with an absolute belter of a goal. But it's gonna amount for absolutely nothing in the end, because we come away with absolutely 0 points. So bit of a shambles, and then Pearson, ex-Rover, comes in, 2 headers, ousted Walton in what was a bit. It was one of our old defensive displays. It was like Mulgrew was on the field, and it just looked woeful, especially in the aerial duels. And we'll talk about those aerial duels in a second. It's a mega stat right there. We did dominate possession. 65 or 66% possession was with Rovers, 34% for the opposition. We had 16 shots compared to their 8, but they made those 8 count. We had better success with our passing, with 84% of all passes reaching their target. 69 for Luton Town. 6 dribbles for us. Corners 8-1. 8-1. They had 1 corner. I think a goal come from it. 1 free kick, goal come from it. So they made their set pieces count. Aerial duels 19-16 in favour. We've been doing better, but ultimately we got caught flat for these bad boys. Let's take a look at the starting 11s here. Here is Rovers. Walton was between 6. Cunningham, Williams, Lenihan and Bennett. Supposedly our best back 4. Johnson, Travis, our best holding midfielders, you would say. Dak obviously goes without saying. Downing's been a decent start so far. Armstrong's been a stop-start. And Gallagher's been a little bit ropey, but he costs a fair bit. So he's up there. So that was us, in all honesty, I think a lot of diehards would expect DG to be starting this game. Maybe Rothwell, but Rothwell was sick, so there was no slot for him. I think we're going to expect a lot of changes in the next game, because the games do come thick and fast. We've got Forest next on Tuesday, and I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 changes from that game. It's at Ewood Park as well, so hopefully we can get the better of them. But if we play like we did today, shit zone. These are my match ratings for you. Walton's got a 5, Cunningham's got a 6, Williams, Lennon both got 5s. I think they're kind of at fault for their goals, really. Walton did pull off some good saves, but ultimately we should be winning this game. Better with a 6. I guess those two were running their socks off. It wasn't the greatest performance overall. Johnson with a 6 as well. Looked a little bit sluggish, heavy. Travis obviously just scored that wonder goal, but it's going to count for nothing. Dak was not one of his best days. Armstrong, I'm being generous. Downing also being a little bit generous, but he obviously picked out some passes. And I was Bigging him up over on the Twitch stream. If you haven't caught me out on the Twitch live watch-alongs, the link to my Twitch platform is in the description. Make sure you head over there, smash the follow, so you know the next time we do a watch-along, potentially Tuesday, we'll see. And Gallagher up top, and he got 5. He was useless. He got pulled. Johnson got pulled, and Bennett got pulled towards the back end of the game. So. Yes, interesting. Quick look at the lineup for Luton. Slug up between the sticks. Potts, Bradley, Pearson, Bree in the back four, Butterfield, Tunnicliffe and Mpanzu. Brown in a holding midfielder, Slot, Collins and Cornick up top. We also saw McManaman coming off the bench, and he looked pretty solid as well. Quick look at the shots and bits and pieces here. We have more touches than Luton, 743 to their 468, nearly double the amount of touches. More passes as well, nearly double as well, 564 compared to their 309. They were dominating us in the first half. It was definitely a better second half for Rovers, but we basically still let them get away with it. 16 shots, like I said. On target, that's where it matters. That's where it matters. We had 10 shots. 2 of them on pissing target. Luton had 5 shots. Luton had 8 shots, 5 on target, 2 in the back of the net. So yeah, it's not pretty reading. What else we got? Dribbles, tackles attempted. But basically, we just weren't good enough. Yeah, let's take a look at the heat maps. If you're a heat map man, just like me, here we go. As you can see, it was the defensive midfield area that seemed to dominate sort of our passage of play. Not much moving forward, just a lot of in our own sort of half, in our own third, right here. If I can show on the mouse, maybe I can actually do a bit of on the fly sort of stuff here. But basically, right here is where we had the ball. You know, we dominated possession, correct. We dominated passing, correct. But it was all in that area. All in that pissing area. So, yeah, not good enough. How do I get off this now? How do I get off this? There we go. That's probably good. But as for Luton, a lot more fluid, not more quicker, getting their ball where they need to do. And ultimately, yeah, they got the 3 points. Quick look at what else went on this weekend in the Championship. Fulham put 2 past Wigan. That was yesterday. Same as Forest, who are our next opponents. 3-2 victory on the road at Stoke, who looked like they were going to get something from the game, but they didn't. QPR also lost in the early game on Saturday at home. There are next opponents next Saturday. Got a red card. Not too sure who that is, but it will be suspended, I'm sure. So West Brom 2-0 over at Loftus Road, or whatever they call it. Middlesbrough, absolute in the Gary Monk derby. Middlesbrough 1, Sheffield Wednesday 4 away from home. Huddersfield again cannot buy a win, just a 1-1 draw with Millwall at home. Swansea, same deal with a 1-1 draw against Reading. A lot of draws today. Hull City with a 2-2 draw against Cardiff City. Obviously, the game of the weekend was the shambles at Ewood Park. We don't want to talk about that. Preston can only manage a 3-3 draw. Goals galore in that bad boy. Charlton 1-0 up against Leeds. What a surprise there. Wheels have come off. And Derby, despite their shambolic week this week with all them off-the-field matters, 3-2 win against Birmingham. Now let's take a look at what that's done to the table. West Brom are top of the pops, 1 point clear of Swansea and Forest. Leeds are in the playoffs, so are Preston and Charlton are hanging on there for dear life. Down the bottom is Stoke, Huddersfield and Barnsley, who have a game in hand up against Brentford tomorrow. Speaking of that, after that game, or roughly, we should hopefully have our championship predictions. I'm not too sure what time we're doing it, but just make sure you smash the subscribe, and you'll know when I go live, boys and girls. But there will be some championship predictions tomorrow. Could be a late one. It might not be too late. We'll see. It's definitely going to be after that game, because I need to obviously get all the predictions in. Quick look at the next round of matches, which do take place this Tuesday and Wednesday. And again, we'll have another prediction show, possibly on Thursday, like we normally do. Hull City taking on Sheffield Wednesday. That's on Tuesday. Middlesbrough taking on Preston. That's also on Tuesday. Leeds up against West Brom. Wigan against Birmingham. Reading against Fulham. Stoke against Huddersfield. Some tasty ones in there. That Stoke Huddersfield game. Finally, one of them should get a win, or will it be another draw? But the game of the week, or midweek, will be Rovers against Forest at Ewood Park. Into Wednesday, we've got Brentford against Bristol City, battle of the Bees. Charlton against Swansea, battle at the top there. Luton Town against Millwall, bit of a London affair, or Greater London affair, you should say. Cardiff City against QPR, and Barnsley will take on Derby on a very, very slam-packed schedule, folks. But for me, I'm still licking my wounds. I still think this was one that got away. It's just like Charlton. I think Charlton, they've done well so far. They are grinding out the results, and they look like they're going to be sticking around as well. Luton caught us a little bit embarrassed, I think. And yeah, we all of us, every single one of us, I was expecting a win at home. Hopefully we'll get the better of them at their place on the last day of the season. But anyway, just to hear a little bit what I had to say, just a smidgen. What about the gaffer? What did Tony Mowbray have to say shortly after the final whistle? Here he is.
Yeah, I suppose so. I think, it was a hugely frustrating day for us, really. I mean, the first 15 minutes of the game, we played probably as well as we played all season, and then the last 20 minutes, we camped around their box. I think the frustration is that we didn't really create enough clear-cut goal scoring. Make their goalkeeper work probably is what I'm looking for. And but I don't think you can put it down as a bad performance. It was a pretty dominant performance, and yet very similar to Charlton opening day of the season. We lost the game to a set play, which has been unlike us from then until now. Everything in between, we've defended set plays pretty well and made first contact, and yet today against another promoted team, it's hurt us, in the case where we've lost the game. But yeah, really frustrating, very disappointed that we didn't find a way to score more goals than one. And we have to move on. You don't want to get too down on it. It's because there was a lot of good stuff today, and we can't throw all that good stuff away. But ultimately, we should be beating teams like Luton Town with total respect to them. If we have an aspiration of being at the top end of this table, we need to get results today, and we didn't manage to do that. I genuinely thought we would win pretty comfortably at half time, to be fair. It's and yet it didn't happen for us. It was, it's football. You have to accept it. We huffed and puffed, and they defended well, blocked lots of our shots, frustrated everybody with, it seemed to take an age to take every throw in, every goal kick, everything. It was one of them days really where the clock was ticking and nothing was happening because somebody couldn't decide whether he was throwing it long or throwing it short, and the referee waited till the 94th minute to book somebody. But there you go. I don't want to blame the referee. Our own deficiencies really today we need to look at and talk about, and when days like this come again, we have to find a way to beat teams like Luton Town. I think sometimes in games like that where you're playing against a lot of players who are sitting pretty deep and defending their box, you have to decide how you're going to score, what type of goals you're going to score, and maybe it was a day for more craft. I was just saying inside there, maybe a day for Rothwell. I think Rothwell's ill and wasn't available today, but a bit more individuality was probably required, a bit more individual technique to go past somebody to get to the byline, to cut it back for somebody to score at the back stick like we've scored in the past. But it wasn't available today, and sometimes when you're playing against deep block teams, the Gallaghers and Armstrongs of this world aren't the answer. But we didn't have the players available. We still ended up with Holtby and Dak on the pitch with that type of football, of course, but we still didn't find the way to get through, and we left very frustrated, disappointed. I don't know, to be honest. I haven't seen it. I generally don't get involved with it. I don't want to be the manager who goes and bangs on the referee's door and F's and blinds at him for getting something wrong. I think I generally like to calm down. He didn't give the goal. The score's 2-1. It doesn't matter whether I think it was offside or I'm not really interested. But I thought the referee had a tough day today. He let too much roll and decided to book somebody in 94th minute. But never mind. It's more about us than officials. I don't want to stand here and blame the officials for our 2-1 defeat. We have to look at ourselves and ask if we did enough. Were we clever enough around the edge of the box? Did we have enough shots at their goalie? Did we create enough chances? We had enough territorial, positional play around their box and in their half of the pitch. I think they're okay the way they play. They can give you problems. There were spells where they can break away and look all right, and yet generally the flow of the game was towards their goal, and yet we didn't have enough to put the ball in their net enough times.
Now you heard a little bit what the gaffers had to say. What about on social media? I was going to try and get a hold of the fans of the week, but unfortunately they are busy. My fellow Rover obviously probably drowning his sorrows. As for the Luton Town guys, probably partying the night away. Carl Wicks said, never seen a team waste more time in my life. I'm sure he's referring to Luton. From the first minute to the last, should be ashamed. Also have to say Gallagher was useless and we looked so much better when Graham came on. Simon Woodford said this, poor result to come away from 2 home games against newly promoted sides with nothing is, his words not mine, pathetic. Fluffy, he's bad, the fluffer. The fluffter. Fortress Ewood, not good enough again. I'm sure lots of positives to be taken from the loss. I'm getting sick of it. We should be brilliant. The amount of positives we've taken from games already this season. Meanwhile, Simon Fish said this, forget officials, forget stats. The only one that matters is the scoreline. We were simply not good enough in the final third. If you do want to quote stats, despite limited possession, they had more shots on target than we did. This was quite simply not good enough. Lewis Harris said this, happens every time we think we're going to get somewhere. Get some good results and lose against the shit teams. The American Rover potentially going to be on the show at some point if we can sort it out. Charlton 2.0, better and Lenihan at fault for the goals. Gallagher very poor, feels like a big opportunity wasted. If we truly have ambition, then games like this need to be 3 points. Much tougher fixtures in October than September. Real Debbie Downer, he says. Real Stuart Downing, he says. Bit but clean slate for Forest. That's right, we just move on because there is no time to feel down about this one. The next one is right around the corner, and then after that, right around the corner, and then we have a break. So we need to end this stretch with 6 points. If we can get 6 out of 6, this Luton thing will be forgotten about. Meanwhile, Matt Hornby said this all-round shite game. I've never seen a team waste as much. Nope. Maybe. No, it's somebody different. Never seen a team waste so much time like that and get away with it. The referee was also poor today. Also, Armstrong needs dropping out of the 18. Worst bit of business Mowbray has done. That's a bit harsh. Luke Thornby, the reason why Rovers won't make the top 6 is because of poor results like this. You need to win against promoted sides. When will Rovers learn how to defend crosses? We concede all too regularly from set pieces, yet it doesn't matter to get addressed, which is poor management. Andy Brown said this, well done Tony, wasted 13 million on strikers who are worse than Graham. Gallagher's dreadful but will start on Tuesday. We all know what's going to happen. Someone needs to sit down with him, start with your bloody best team, don't finish with it. Andrew Barnes, disappointed to see us lose to another program side. Dropped 3 points we really should have won, just doesn't feel like we want to take our chances to break into the top 6. But Butterfield is happy. I bet Butterfield is happy we didn't give him a contract now. Meanwhile, Aaron Lomax, games like this is exactly why we are a million miles from getting promoted. Poor today. Need a response Tuesday. Play like that and Forest will come away with 3 points. Alan Grimes said this. Shame. Thought we would win this one. I know we can't win every game, but I expected 3 points today. Where we are. That's what he's trying to say. Where we are is where we'll finish. What he reckons. But it was a big landmark for Elliot Bennett. It was 150th appearance for Rovers. He's been there, seen it and done it. He's obviously he brought in under Bowyer, was it? Brought in under Bowyer, perhaps. Coyle didn't rate him that much. And now Mowbray's given him the armband. So what a journey it's been for him. Obviously, he's got some critics out there, but the majority appreciate his efforts as well. But anyway, that is pretty much all I've got for you. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, smash the thumbs up. If you're new, smash the subscribe. We are going to go right into match coverage or preview for the Forest game. That'll be on Sunday, so stick around. It'll be online at some point. I've already got my fan preview. We've got the South African Rover in the locker. We'll hear from him. Hopefully we'll hear from a Forest fan as well. The games are coming thick and fast this next few days. But after this time next week, we'll be into the international break. Think about it a little bit. Think about it. Hopefully we're going in with smiles on our faces, because right now I'm pissed. Thanks again for watching. Please like, share, and most importantly, hit the subscribe button to keep you bang up to date with all things Blackburn Rovers related, Championship related, football related. We've got it all covered right under one roof. And while I still have you, please be sure to check out some of the old videos scattered along here. I hope.